Unlock the unseen power of words and transform your reality as you embark on a mystical journey. I never expected a single dream to change everything. I always thought dreams were just whispers of sleep, fleeting thoughts that danced on the edge of consciousness. But that night, everything shifted. The air felt heavy with something electric, an energy that crackled like static on my skin. I remember waking up drenched in sweat, heart racing, as if I had sprinted through the night. That I glanced out the window, the moon hung low, casting an eerie glow over the quiet street. It was a night unlike any other, charged with a strange, intoxicating energy. A nagging doubt clutched at my stomach. What did it mean? Why did I feel like I had stepped into a different world? I sank to my knees, palms pressed to cool wood, and closed my eyes. Meditation had always been my refuge, a way to find calm amid the chaos of life. But that night, I felt something was watching me. The sounds outside morphed into whispers, secrets carried on the night breeze. I could almost hear the trees sighing, their rustling leaves weaving a tapestry of stories. Flickers of visions danced behind my closed eyelids, a golden key, a locked door, and a velvet curtain pulled back to reveal shadows lurking just out of sight. Were they spirits? Messages from another realm? My breath quickened. The uncertainty suffocated me. Questions swirled like autumn leaves in a tempest. Why was I chosen for this vision? Who was calling me? I opened my eyes, startled by the stillness enveloping me. The world outside felt unreal, as if it was suspended in time, holding its breath. I needed answers, but every time I reached for clarity, it slipped away like water through my fingers. As dawn approached, a soft light spilled into my room, illuminating the dust motes that danced in the air. A sudden sense of urgency rushed through me. I had to find out. I had to discover the truths behind this midnight dream and the words I felt echoing in my soul. The weight of possibility hung heavily on mere words, really powerful enough to shift realities, to unlock unseen doors. Just then, a flicker caught my eye. My gaze drifted to the window, and there it was, a black feather resting on the sill. I felt the chill roll down my spine. Was this a sign? What did it mean? The questions loomed large, and my heart raced in tandem with the pulse of the universe. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. A weightless feeling stirred within me as the sun ascended, painting the horizon in shades of gold and lavender. I picked up the feather, its glossy surface reflecting the early light, and wondered at its origins. Did it really belong to the vast unseen world that called me? With every breath, I could sense the calling grow stronger, as if the feather contained a vital piece of a puzzle waiting for me to assemble it. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, I stepped outside, my bare feet pressing into the dew-soaked grass. Nature welcomed me with open arms, her whispers entwining with my thoughts. I felt propelled toward the forest bordering the edge of my property. Each step felt more intentional, as if the earth beneath me was guiding my journey. As I walked, I recalled some experiences from my childhood, moments when I could see the world intertwining with magic and possibility. I remembered how I would sit beneath the ancient oak tree, creating stories inspired by the rustling of the leaves and the soft whispers of the wind. I had long since forgotten those moments, buried under the weight of adult responsibilities and rationalities. But now, I felt those sparks reignite within me. The deeper I traveled into the woods, the more vibrant my surroundings became. The green of the leaves was luminous, the air buzzing with an energy that was both exhilarating and overwhelming. I appeared to have entered a sacred space, a hidden glade where the sunlight filtered through the branches, creating patterns on the ground that resembled paths leading to unknown realms, and there, in the heart of the glade, stood a stone circle, ancient and powerful. Each stone was etched with symbols that seemed to pulse with energy. I approached with caution, my heart pounding in rhythm with the essence of the earth. As I stepped into the circle, the air thickened around me, wrapping me in a warm embrace. A sense of familiarity washed over me, as though I had returned home after a long absence. Kneeling at the center, I placed the feather on an altar made of rough-hewn wood, feeling its weight shift as if it bore the collective wishes of those who had come before me. Closing my eyes once more, I reached out to the universe, asking for guidance, trying to understand my place in this grand tapestry of existence, and then it came like a gentle tide pulling at my consciousness a vision. I saw myself standing in front of a vast library, books stacked high, their spines glimmering like lost treasures. A voice, soft yet firm, draped itself over my mind. Words are keys, and thoughts are the doors you have yet to unlock. The images of books and words swirling around me filled me with both wonder and confusion. What did it mean? How could I access this power? As quickly as the vision came, it faded, leaving behind a lingering sense of purpose. I opened my eyes and felt invigorated, driven by a quest for understanding that had taken root deep within me. Slowly rising from the stone circle, I sensed a transformation burgeoning in my veins. The feather, now resting among the stones, felt like a beacon illuminating the way forward, yet as I stepped out of the glade, the earlier exhilaration shifted to uncertainty. Was it enough? I had merely glimpsed a fragment of understanding. What awaited me on this journey into the depth of words, thoughts, and the mystical connection between them? The questions, once again, loomed large and unanswered. I was left with an unshakable feeling that the more I reached for clarity, the more I would indeed find myself enmeshed in layers of discovery that only deepened the mystery. As I wandered back home, the thought lingered in my mind: what words, hidden in the shadows of the library of the universe, awaited me to decipher their meaning? What truths lay just beyond my grasp? As the sun began its descent, casting elongated shadows that danced along the forest floor, I felt an unseen weight resting upon me, pressing me to learn. The visions had opened a door within my mind, yet I was acutely aware that I lacked the keys to fully traverse through it. I retraced my steps toward home, but each stride seemed to echo with the promise of exploration, tantalizing me with the unknown. That I in my dreams that night, I wandered through the library I had seen in my vision. Its walls stretched endlessly, filled with tomes and scrolls that held the wisdom of countless souls. Each book seemed to whisper my name, inviting me to pick them up and delve into their mysteries. I reached for one inscribed with golden letters, but as my fingers brushed its spine, it evaporated into wisps of smoke. The more I sought to possess the knowledge, the more elusive it became. I awoke drenched in sweat, my heart racing, yearning for understanding but ensnared by an overwhelming sense of futility. The following days blurred into a rhythm of routine, yet the feather remained tucked safely on my desk, a poignant reminder of my profound experience in the glade. It drew me back to the forest, igniting that deep-seated curiosity once more. I felt compelled to uncover the stories concealed in the fabric of nature, to listen to what the universe sought to reveal. Returning to the grove, I sensed that each visit summoned new knowledge, as if the stones had absorbed my lingering questions, waiting patiently to gift me profound insights. This time, however, I did not go to the circle alone. I brought a small notebook and a pen, tools of translation for the thoughts that had begun to swirl like autumn leaves within me. As I sat cross-legged on the cool earth, I drew in a deep breath and opened the notebook. The forest came alive. I could hear the rustling of leaves, the chirping of distant birds, and the rhythmic pulse of my own heartbeat. With every stroke of the pen, I wrote almost feverishly, capturing fleeting thoughts, vibrant observations, and fragments of poetry that wanted to spill forth. I felt as if the very essence of nature was flowing through my hand, guiding me along the paths I had yet to traverse. But amongst my musings, a shadow of doubt crept in. What if my interpretations were simply smoke, illusions of insight that led nowhere? Could I truly unlock the power of words to manifest change? That afternoon, while scribbling away, I noticed a flicker of movement out of the corner of my eye. A doe emerged from the underbrush, cautiously stepping into the sun-dappled glade. My breath hitched as I held still, transfixed by her graceful presence. She seemed to embody a quiet wisdom, her gentle gaze inviting me to ask the questions piled in my heart. Will you show me the way? I whispered as if she might understand. The doe tilted her head, and in that instant, I felt the connection between us deepen. She moved a few steps closer, and with it, a sense of calm coursed through me. As the creature nibbled on the greenery at the edge of the glade, I recalled tales of animal guides, symbiotic spirits that teach humans through their presence. Suddenly, the memories of my childhood, those moments of perceived magic, flooded back, tethering me to my innate ability to receive signs. The doe lifted her gaze to meet mine, and I knew I had been given a silent promise, that I was not alone in my quest. When she turned to leave, disappearing silently into the thicket, I felt compelled to follow. My intuition urged me to move, to ascend into the uncharted territories of thought and discovery. Following her tracks and integrating the energy of the forest into my own spirit, I found myself at a riverbank, the water glinting in the last rays of sunlight, alive with secrets yet to be unfolded. I perched myself on a smooth rock, and the river flowed freely, its current whispering ancient tales. Words unspooled in my mind, weaving together the fabric of my own reality. For a moment, I marveled at how such a simple element could hold the weight of transformation. As I sat, seeking insights within the embrace of the flowing water, I couldn't help but ponder a persistent question: if the words I sought held keys to unlocking my destiny, how would I learn to wield them? What would it mean to truly understand the language of the universe? The river rushed past, carrying my questions downstream, each ripple, a possibility merging with the collective consciousness, urging me to dive deeper. As the day surrendered to twilight, I remained seated by the riverbank, my mind awash with the ebb and flow of thoughts. The horizon, painted in shades of lavender and gold, mirrored the awakening within me, a vivid reminder that beauty sometimes arises from chaos. I peered into the crystal waters, watching as the surface reflected fragmented glimmers of light, each shard a story waiting to be told. The river's song resonated with a soft urgency, pulling at the strings of my heart as if to remind me that the journey was just beginning. I closed my eyes, allowing the sounds to wrap around me like a tender embrace. In stillness, I crept deeper into the chambers of my consciousness, longing to decipher the whispers promising illumination. What is it that I must know? I breathed out into the cool evening air, my voice scarcely a ripple against the river's relentless chorus. In response, I felt the tiniest flicker of energy, a gentle rush that flowed from the water to my fingertips, igniting my awareness. It was as if the universe, in its infinite wisdom, chose that moment to reveal another sign. My gaze fell upon a smooth stone at my feet, glossy and dark, bearing veins of white that seemed to dance in the waning light. With a deliberate motion, I picked it up, cradling it in my palm, anchor grounding me to the present while stretching my thoughts to the horizon of possibility. That I recalled my grandmother's tales, filled with the powers of stones and their secrets. She once told me that those who listened closely could hear the wisdom of the earth. I closed my eyes again, cradling the stone closer to my heart, and allowed my surroundings to fade gently into the background. In my mind's eye, I saw a vivid tableau unfold, the stone's veins shimmering to life, painting a picture as ancient as the mountains that cradled the river. I felt energies pulsing through me, whispers weaving tales of courage and fear, of loss and triumph. It dawned upon me that each stroke of the vein held memories, stories of souls who had once walked this very earth, longing to be remembered. Suddenly, I envisioned the doe again, her gentle spirit entwined with my own consciousness. A flicker of understanding surged through me, my quest for knowledge extended beyond traditional learning. It was about harmonizing with the world around me, opening myself to the messages embedded in nature's tapestry, and acknowledging the unending dialogue between the seen and unseen. As I rose to my feet, stone still in hand, I turned toward the trees that lined the riverbank, knowing that tonight, I would be guided to new encounters and revelations. With each step, I felt the pulse of the earth beneath my feet, its rhythm matching the quickening beat of my heart. I passed under branches that bowed gracefully, as if inviting me deeper into their realm. Shadows flitted past me, deities of dusk promising to unveil that which was hidden. In this cocoon of twilight, curiosity danced with trepidation, teasing out questions I hadn't yet conjured. Would the forest share its secrets? Would I gain insight into the art of weaving my experiences into words? Each question lingered like dew on a spider's web, fragile yet shimmering, seemingly abandoned until the light returned. Soon, I stumbled upon a glacial clearing, illuminated by the sliver of moonlight falling from the heavens, and there, sitting upon an ancient stump, was an old man cloaked in layers of moss and bark. His presence was commanding yet serene, a contemplative guardian of the forest. His eyes, as deep as the very night itself, sparkled with the wisdom of ages. "Come here, seeker," he beckoned, his voice intertwining with the night air. "You have come to listen, and to learn. Will you teach me?" I rasped, the weight of my yearning rendering my voice a mere whisper against the rustle of leaves. "How do I unlock the words that hold the keys to my destiny?" "Words," he mused, his gaze penetrating my soul, "are the echoes of intention. They must first resonate within you before they can take flight. But beware, their power demands authenticity, and there are barriers that obscure the truth." In those moments, time felt like a deluge, the world around us dissolving into a synchronicity of thought and feeling. I instinctively knew that our conversation would bring forth questions I had yet to form and uncover lessons buried beneath layers of misunderstanding. "What must I do?" I asked, a blend of trepidation and anticipation mounting within me. The old man's eyes sparkled with mischief, then softened. "Listen to the stories around you, for each rustle and murmur carries a whisper from the cosmos. Witness the flow like the river, let your thoughts move freely to reveal the truths waiting patiently within your heart." As twilight shifted into night, a fire ignited in my spirit, illuminating the path ahead. The old man was merely a guide, a flicker of light urging me to embrace a deeper connection with creation. I sensed the depth of my journey had just begun. A labyrinth of stories, symbols, and insights awaited me. As I left the clearing under the watchful gaze of the stars, I couldn't help but ponder, what stories would reveal themselves in the whispers of the world? How could I quiet my mind enough to truly listen? Each question opened a new portal of curiosity, daring me to embrace the unknown and the infinite possibilities that lay ahead. The moon hung high, a luminescent sentinel guiding my steps as I traversed the underbrush, now more alive with the sounds of the forest. I felt as if the trees were leaning closer, their gnarled branches like fingers reaching out to impart their timeless wisdom. Each crackling leaf beneath my feet resonated like a heartbeat, a reminder that nature's pulse was inextricably linked to my own quest. As I wandered deeper into the embrace of the woods, a shimmering light flickered in my peripheral vision. I turned towards it, curiosity pulling at my spirit, and found myself standing in front of a glade bathed in soft radiance. Wisps of mist danced languidly above the ground, and at the center, a circle of radiant mushrooms illuminated the scene, their caps glistening like jewels. Kneeling down, I felt a magnetic pull, as if they were whispering tales of forgotten realms. The mushrooms, vibrant and otherworldly, seemed to pulse in cadence with my heartbeat. I leaned closer, inhaling their earthy aroma, and within a breath, the air around me shimmered. A remarkable transformation unfolded, and I was no longer simply a witness, I became part of the ethereal tapestry of their existence. In that moment, the boundaries of my reality blurred. I sensed echoes of conversations that transcended language, a symphony of life singing in harmony. "Do you hear us?" A voice chimed, delicate yet omnipresent, weaving through the ether like the notes of a lullaby. I turned, searching for the source, but found only the mushrooms glowing with an inviting luminosity. "What must I understand?" I inquired, letting the weight of my question soft float into the space between us. "You seek the unseen, yet often overlook the truth that lies within." They spoke again, the ambience rippling as each syllable unveiled layers of understanding. "Words have energy, and the energy weaves your reality. Consider what seeds you sow with your thoughts and language." The realization struck like a sudden storm, each word echoing with meaning. I reflected on the countless moments where I had doubted my voice, relegating my thoughts to shadows. But how do I cultivate this awareness? I asked, each sound of my voice resonating with the urgency of my quest. By honoring the silence as much as the sound, by understanding that listening is equally as important as speaking, they replied, the realization enfolding me like a warm blanket on a cold night. Begin there. Listen not just to the words, but to the pauses, the hesitations, the emotions that color the silence between. My heart swelled, almost too large for my body. A kaleidoscope of emotions cascaded over me: fear, hope, clarity, all intertwining in a dance of revelation. The mushrooms dimmed, their light flickering as if nodding in acknowledgement of the flicker within me, igniting a fire of intent that I emerged from the glade carried upon the currents of inspiration, and as I walked, I began to practice this newfound awareness. I listened deeply to the whispers of the trees, the stories the wind had to tell, and the language of the river flowing alongside me. Each step became a prayer of gratitude that awakened a deeper comprehension of the interwoven threads of existence that connected us all. Suddenly, from amid the shadows, a fox appeared, its eyes glinting with mischief and ancient wisdom. It paused to regard me, its sleek form reflecting a vibrant energy that buzzed around us. "What will you do with your voice, seeker of truth?" it questioned, head cocked inquisitively. My soul stirred at this challenge. I hadn't expected nature to respond in such a delightful way. "I wish to speak the stories of this world," I replied, feeling the truth of my words reverberate through the air. "But how do I ensure they carry the potency necessary to stir the hearts of others?" "Seek the authenticity buried within," the fox instructed, its gaze unwavering. "Honesty holds the echoes of connection, the threads that bind you to others. When the heart speaks openly, it resonates beyond mere sounds. The world craves authenticity, and through that, you'll transform." Reality, the forest, now a mosaic of shadows and light, resonated with newfound meaning as the words settled in my consciousness. I felt both exhilarated and grounded, energized by the understanding that a meaningful voice is one that arises from deep awareness. That I continued onward, the questions swirling like autumn leaves in the wind. How can I cultivate authenticity in my expression? What might emerge from the depths of my heart if I dared to share my truth with the world? These questions whispered through the fading light, daring me to embrace the mystery that remained ever elusive and yet tantalizingly close. With every footstep taking me deeper into the unknown, I could sense the unseen power of words unfurling like wings, beckoning me to not only speak but to listen intently to the universe unfolding all around me. What awaited me was shrouded in mystery, yet I felt an irresistible pull toward the journey ahead. Would the stories I seek finally reveal themselves in the whispers of the cosmos? The air was thick with anticipation as I drifted further into the embrace of the woods. The illumination of the mushrooms, now a distant memory, had left me with a resonating glow within, a gentle reminder that awareness could illuminate the darkest corners of existence. Each step forward felt like a surrender to the unfolding mystery, and I began to notice the intricate silence nestled between the sounds of the rustling leaves and distant bird calls. That I in this space of reverence, I noticed a crooked branch arching overhead, adorned with moss as soft as velvet. Curiously, I reached out to touch it, and as my fingers brushed against the cool surface, a shiver of energy coursed through me. The branch trembled slightly, and in that moment, a luminous figure emerged from the shadows, a translucent deer, its ethereal form shimmering like starlight. Its eyes, deep and ancient, reflected wisdom as old as the earth itself. "Seeker of stories," it spoke softly, voice flowing like a gentle brook. "What do you truly wish to uncover on your journey?" My heart fluttered, awakening the essence of my previous realizations. "I seek to find the authenticity in my voice," I confessed, increasingly aware of the weight each word carried. "I wish to speak the truth that resonates, to connect with others through the stories that bind us all." The deer nodded gracefully, an understanding flickering like fireflies in the dusk. "Then prepare yourself, for authenticity often lies hidden beneath layers of expectation and fear. Are you willing to embrace both the light and shadow of your truth?" "I am," I replied, an unwavering conviction emerging from my core. Yet, despite my resolve, an unsettling question lingered in the recesses of my mind. What if the weight of my truth became too heavy to bear? "Fear not," the deer reassured, its voice enveloping me like warmth. "Each story has its own rhythm, its own cadence, and within that lies a balance. Trust in the act of vulnerability, for only when you let go of the need to control can you truly express what lies within." As I contemplated this, I felt the earth beneath me pulse gently, echoing the heartbeat of the universe. I could sense reverberations of untold stories swirling in the air, a vast library of experiences waiting to be woven into a narrative. The shadows danced, casting playful shapes around us as if inviting me deeper into this exploration. "Listen closely," the deer continued, "in parameters unknown, your voice will unfurl. Discover the forgotten tales of ancestral echoes carried through time, and you will find the threads that connect you to all beings. That I closed my eyes, breathing in the heady aroma of earth and foliage, and began to listen intently. I felt the energy of those who had come before me, their struggles and triumphs resonating within me. I felt their joy and sorrow intertwining, creating a tapestry woven with unspoken truths. It became apparent that to honor their stories was to honor my own, each experience a crucial note in the symphony of existence. Mysteries bind us all, I whispered aloud, the realization igniting the spark of curiosity anew. But how do I weave my own thread without losing its essence? The deer inclined its head, an encouraging gesture that sent waves of reassurance through my heart. Immerse yourself in the beauty of storytelling, in the authenticity of your encounters. Each moment carries its own truth, embrace it wholeheartedly. The world is a canvas, and you, with each stroke of your voice, shape its reality. With each lesson imparted, I felt emboldened to articulate my thoughts, and yet, questions stirred in the depths of my being. Would I be brave enough to share not only my joys but also the complexities of my vulnerabilities? What if the truths I discovered were not met with understanding, but rather with rejection? As if sensing my inner turmoil, the deer stepped closer, its presence a balm. The journey lies not in the acceptance of others, but in the acceptance of yourself. Speak your truth not for validation, but for liberation. In the act of expression, you release the energy of connection regardless of the outcome. I nodded, the weight of the forest surrounding me both grounding and freeing. I could feel the connection between my heart and the wisdom of the cosmos tightening like an unseen thread, guiding me onward. I knew then that my exploration through the thickness of silence and sound would not just be about finding my voice, but about understanding the pockets of silence, the stillness where revelations lay hidden. As the deer shimmered into the twilight, the encroaching dusk wrapped around me like a shroud, holding space for the unvoiced stories within. I continued my path forward, grappling with the haunting questions that lingered like shadows in my heart. Would I have the courage to delve into my personal depths? And as I listen, truly listen, what might be revealed? As these thoughts danced through my mind, I took each step forward, determined to embrace both the silence and the sound, ever curious about the truths I had yet to uncover. The forest transformed around me, each step carrying a weight of intention that echoed through the lush expanse. The fading light painted a tapestry of deep blues and purples above, while the ground beneath me hummed gently, as if responding to an ancient rhythm that only I could sense. A curious spark of energy flickered between the trees, pulling me closer to a clearing that beckoned like an old friend. As I entered this open space, I gasped softly. An enormous stone altar rose before me, its surface covered in intricate carvings of swirling patterns and figures that spoke of ancestral wisdom. The air vibrated with a palpable energy, charged with countless stories waiting to be revealed. I approached cautiously, captivated by the architectural beauty of this sacred site. Just as my fingers grazed the cool stone, a sudden gust of wind swept through the clearing, making the leaves whirl in a chaotic dance. From within the swirling chaos, a figure emerged, a tall woman, illuminated against the backdrop of twilight. Her hair flowed like silver threads of moonlight, and her eyes held the depth of an entire universe. Seeker, she intoned, her voice resonating with the power of the ages. I am the keeper of echoes. You stand at the threshold of ancient wisdom and unspoken truths. What do you seek in this place where voices of the past intertwine with your present? I seek my voice, I replied, my heart racing with a mixture of excitement and fear. I wish to uncover the stories I carry, to express what lies buried beneath expectation, to connect with others through authenticity. The keeper smiled, her expression both encouraging and enigmatic. To find your voice is to understand the echoes that resonate within you. But be warned, for uncovering deep truths can unleash more than knowledge. It can reveal the shadows you may not wish to confront. I am ready, I asserted, feeling my resolve strengthen under her gaze. I will face what emerges, no matter how daunting. Very well, she said, extending a slender hand toward the altar. Place your palms upon this stone. It is a conduit to the stories bound to your spirit. Allow its pulse to guide you as you connect to the web of existence that binds all living things. I approached the altar, heart pounding in my chest as I laid my hands gently upon the carvings. Instantly, a rush of warmth surged through me, enveloping my soul. The air thickened with energy, and I closed my eyes, surrendering to the wave of sensations flooding my being. I could hear whispers, not unlike the rustling of leaves but clearer, bearing the resonance of voices long forgotten, yet intimately known. Suddenly, images flooded my montage of experiences that transcended my own existence. I saw ancestors shaping the earth, their joys and struggles intertwining to form a lineage of resilience. I felt the weight of their dreams and fears, their courage propelling me forward. I sensed the raw beauty of their stories and how they flowed to me like an everlasting river, yet as I absorbed these teachings, shadows emerged, unspoken truths, regrets, and fears buried beneath layers of time. Memories of lost connections and unexpressed emotions arose, vying for my attention in an audible cacophony. Would I be able to navigate through these chaotic revelations? The keeper's voice broke through my reverie, gentle yet firm. Your truth is a vessel meant to carry all of this joy and sorrow alike. To express your voice, you must first embrace these shadows, for they are the roots from which authenticity blooms. Only in acknowledging their existence can you find the strength to transform them. With this wisdom weighing heavy upon my heart, I opened my eyes, feeling disoriented yet resolute. The clearing felt different, as if the world had shifted in a profound way. I saw the keeper regarding me with a mixture of expectation and compassion. What must I do? I asked, my voice trembling slightly. Listen closely to the echoes of your heart, she replied, her gaze unwavering. With each revelation you discover, transform it into a story, a gift to the world. Allow your voice to resonate with the truths of both light and shadow, for therein lies your authenticity. As she spoke, I felt the urgency of my journey settle within, an invitation to explore the depths of my being beyond the surface. But as I contemplated this calling, I found myself grappling with new questions. Would I truly embrace the darkness that accompanied my journey? And how might unveiling these deeper stories shift not only my own perspective but those who hear them? The keeper, sensing the storm of thoughts swirling within me, gave a slight noted gesture of reassurance. Trust the process, for in time, you will learn that vulnerability is not weakness, but a bridge that connects you to others. Share your truth freely, and you shall witness the amalgamation of voices foster understanding and healing. That I took a step back from the altar, the weight of her words igniting a flicker of understanding within me. I left the clearing, taking a last glance at the ethereal keeper, my heart filled with an array of questions that accompanied me as shadows deepened around my path. What stories lay waiting to be unearthed within me? How might the echoes of my truth forge new connections among those I meet? The answers remained elusive for now, shrouded in the mystery of my unfolding journey, yet I felt an unwavering sense of purpose guiding me forth, ever craving the revelations that awaited. I wandered through the ever-thickening woods, the sounds of the forest pulsating around me, each rustle and whisper both captivating and disorienting. With every step, I felt the weight of my ancestors' stories surging through the ground beneath me, connecting me to a lineage of untold truths. The darkness enveloped me, yet with each breath, I drew in the promise of unknown revelations. As the twilight deepened into night, the path ahead illuminated with a soft, ethereal glow. Intrigued, I followed it, the light beckoning me toward an unseen destination. Soon, I found myself standing before an ancient tree, its trunk broad and gnarled, its branches stretching out like arms of a wise elder seeking connection with the stars. The air shimmered around it, thick with a sense of presence, as if the tree itself were alive with unwhispered tales. I stepped closer, inhaling the earthy scent of moss and bark, the fragrance a reminder of time and growth. What secrets do you hold? I whispered to the tree, half expecting an answer. In the stillness, I closed my eyes, intent on listening with all of my being. As soon as I did, an overwhelming warmth cascaded over me. A wave of ancient wisdom surged through the roots that dug deep into the earth, weaving together a tapestry of silence and sound. I felt the pulse of life throbbing around me, interconnectedness of all that exists, human, animal, tree, star. Within this vibrational web, I began to discern voices, not distinct yet hauntingly familiar, flowing like a river of memory. Through this tapestry, one voice rose above the rest, resonant and nurturing. You seek, dear one, but what do you truly wish to uncover? It was neither male nor female, yet it encompassed all the qualities of both. The tree pulsed gently as if inviting me to embark deeper into my own essence. That I wish to understand my truth, I offered, my heart racing once again. I long to learn how to express what is hidden within me and connect with the world beyond my own shadow. Each soul bears a light and a shadow, the voice replied, deepening in warmth. What you call shadow is merely an unexplored aspect of your being, waiting for recognition. The tree shuddered slightly, its branches trailing the ground like caressing fingers, reminding me of the delicate balance of existence. If you are to unlock the unseen power of your words, you must first commune with these shadows. Then, what must I do? How do I embrace that which I fear? I asked, a flicker of vulnerability surfacing. Follow the thread of your emotions. Seek those moments that stir your heart, both the joyous and the sorrowful. Perhaps they are whispers of fears unspoken or dreams curtailed. Delve into them. Your voice is shaped through these experiences. They are not to frighten you, but to guide you toward authenticity. With this insight, I felt a flicker of hope. The shadows, once daunting, began to frame themselves as companions on this journey rather than adversaries. Each memory, each feeling was a thread that wove through my existence, forming patterns I could learn to express. As I contemplated these words, a rustling nearby piqued my interest. I turned and beheld a small Creaturian owl, its wise eyes gleaming like polished stones. It gazed at me with a knowing look, its presence an assurance that I was supported in this unfolding journey. Wise one, I acknowledged the owl. What can you teach me? In response, it flapped its wings, sending a shower of glimmers into the air. The light refracted around me, illuminating threads of golden connections that shimmered in the darkness. Trust the unseen, the owl hooted softly, its voice echoing in my mind. Your truth, once expressed, can illuminate paths for others still lost in the night. With those words echoing powerfully, I realized the responsibility that came with awakening my voice. It wasn't merely my tale to tell, it was a journey intertwined with countless others, a narrative that could illuminate distant hearts. As the owl lifted itself from the ground and soared silently into the starry sky, I sensed the enormity of what lay ahead. My journey was deepening, but the question still lingered: how would I identify and embrace my shadowy truths? And how might those truths transform not only my reality but the connections I foster along this path? The forest whispered its answers in the rustling leaves, each sound embedded with wisdom yet to be unveiled. As I stood at this crossroads of shadow and light, I felt the enormity of the task before me, knowing the echoes of my heart were guiding me ever forward, calling me deeper into the embrace of authenticity and connection. What would the next revelation reveal in the dance of my unfolding story? As the ethereal glow of the ancient tree faded into the background, I took a moment to reflect. The warmth of the owl's wisdom lingered in the air, filling the space around me with an electric anticipation. What awaited me deeper within the woods felt akin to an unfolding book, each page steeped in mystery, asking to be turned but daring me to venture forward. With purpose in my steps, I pressed onward through the dense foliage, the path winding like the sinews of a thought struggling to find clarity. Moonlight filtered through the branches above, painting the ground in silvery hues, transforming the ordinary into something sacred. Each footfall seemed to merge with the earth's pulse, reminding me that I was both a seeker and a part of a far greater tapestry. The deeper I wandered, the crisper the air became, cleansing my spirit with every breath I took. I paused beside a small stream that danced joyfully over smooth stones, a sound reminiscent of laughter cascading through time. As I sat on the edge, I allowed the rushing water to wash over my thoughts, its flow urging me to release what clung to my heart. Suddenly, a flicker on the water's surface caught my eye, reflections of luminescent orbs swirling beneath the surface. They glimmered with an otherworldly hue, inviting me to explore their depths. I leaned closer, whispering, "What are you? Are you a reflection of my own hidden truths?" Their response was an enchanting ripple, like a chorus of teasing whispers of feeling rather than words. A surge of excitement coursed through me as I closed my eyes and opened my heart to the current of the moment. Instinctively, I knew that to understand my unseen truths, I had to immerse myself, to allow myself to be guided by the unseen currents of emotion. In that spaciousness of surrender, visions began to unfold. I found myself standing in different moments throughout my life, memories swirling like autumn leaves caught in a gust of wind. Each memory contained echoes of joy, sorrow, and longing, each one carrying a nuance of my existencia, forgotten piece of the mosaic of my spirit. There I was, sitting alone on a school bench, my heart racing as I yearned to share a poem I had written. Yet fear gripped my throat, holding my voice hostage. I watched as the moment passed, swallowed whole by silence. Would that be the thread I needed to embrace? Or the time I poured my heart out in a letter, only to leave it unsent, the ink drying in a testament of hopes unexpressed? As the visions merged, the weight of my unvoiced truths began to settle over my shoulders, revealing a burden I had carried unknowingly. Each memory demanded acknowledgement, not as a source of shame, but as a vital part of me that yearned to be seen and honored. Then, like an awakening from a dream, the shimmering orbs burst forth from the water, their light cloaking me in warmth. I opened my eyes, breathless with clarity. These moments, the fears and the dreams, they are part of my shadow, waiting to be illuminated by my words. As I gathered this understanding, the sound of wings fluttering brought me back to the present. I looked up to see a great heron land gracefully near the stream. Its presence was serene, standing tall and patient. I felt an unexplainable kinship with this majestic bird, a reminder of the need for both stillness and action in my journey. Great one, I greeted, what wisdom do you share? The heron paused, gazing into the water, its eyes reflecting a deep reservoir of patience. In your quest for understanding, remember to embody both the shadow and light, it spoke. Just as I stand still, observing the currents below, so too must you find moments to listen to your emotions, let them guide your voice. The heron dipped its beak to the water's surface, capturing a small fish before lifting its gaze back to me. Your words will not always come easily, but when they do, trust in their power to resonate across waters unseen. Others will listen when you truly express yourself. That I pondered these insights, feeling them weave into the fabric of my journey. The heron represented the perfect balance I sought, of action guided by stillness, of words born from listening. How would I summon the courage to voice my truths, especially those nestled in the shadow? As I watched the heron take flight, a question lingered in the ever-expanding spaces of my mind. In the blend of fear and excitement within me, what uncharted truths awaited discovery? What revelations might lie not only in the articulation of my voice but in the silence that accompanied it? The journey into my shadows felt more vital than ever, and as I moved forward, I wondered how much more I could learn about myself and the world that enveloped me. The night sky arched above me like an infinite sea, shimmering with potential and mystery. My heart raced as I navigated the trails that intertwined through the forest, each step feeling like a foray into both the unknown and the familiar. I had stumbled along this path of self-discovery for so long, observing the shadows that flickered at the edges of my soul, and now I felt a reckoning looming ahead. The whispers of the trees rose and fell like gentle waves, imploring me to listen more closely. I stopped in a small clearing, a soft glow of moonlight illuminating the ground beneath my feet. The air settled thick with anticipation, each breath carried the weight of unspoken truths, secrets long shrouded in my heart. Closing my eyes, I drew a deep inhale, letting the crispness of the night fill me before releasing it with a sigh of resolution. That I, in that moment of stillness, a singular thought echoed in my mind: I am ready. Ready to embrace the shadows that have lingered, to uncover the depths of my spirit that had long yearned to express their truths. With every unanswered question, I had begun to understand that the shadows were not to be feared, they were integral to the mosaic of my being. The energy around me shifted, and I felt the presence of those who had walked this path before me, ancestors who had turned their pain into art, their frustrations into flame. Their voices harmonized with my thoughts, urging me to weave my own story, to dance between the light and the dark. As the moon reached its apex, I knelt upon the cool earth, grounding myself. What do you wish me to discover? I whispered into the silence. The night responded with a warmth, as though the universe wrapped its arms around me, urging me forward. Suddenly, I was enveloped in a Visiona. Cascade of memories flowed through me, many I'd hidden well, moments of triumph where my heart soared, days of sorrow when words escaped my grasp, and the aching longing for connection that sometimes stilled my voice. I saw it all, felt the myriad emotions that constituted my tapestry. Each thread sang out in a symphony I had shunned for too long, and then, from the depths of this confluence, a revelation arose, shimmering brightly against the backdrop of doubt. Your voice is not merely a sound, it is a vessel. A conduit for universal truths, connecting your essence with the heartbeat of existence. When you share your words, you weave a connection that transcends time and space. As the realization sank into me, the boundaries of who I thought I was began to dissolve. I could be more than the fearful spirit hesitating in the shadows, I could become the conduit of both pain and joy, shadow and light. In that instant, I felt the unfurling of my truth, the calling to share what had been hidden, to honor the stories resting in my heart. With newfound resolve, I stood tall among the trees, the night around me humming with life. It was no longer about the fear of judgment or rejection, it was about liberation, of freedom that soared higher than the insecurities I had clutched for so long. I understood that my voice, when true and resonant, would ripple outward to touch countless souls searching for connection in their own silent moments. Tears streamed down my cheeks, a release of all that had been bottled within me, and as I took a deep, shuddering breath, I whispered, I choose to be seen. I choose to express my truth. The declaration echoed within the confines of my heart, bouncing against the walls of doubt that had kept me confined for too long. The forest held its breath, and in that moment of vulnerability, I felt a wave of acceptance wash over me, both from within and the very fabric of nature surrounding me. The trees swayed gently to my silent promise, and a soft wind enveloped me, carrying away the weight of anxiety that once draped itself like a heavy cloak. Opening my eyes to the brilliance of the moon, I glimpsed my reflection upon the still surface of a nearby pond, a radiant being, an embodiment of wisdom and growth, grounded yet ever reaching toward the stars. I knew that in embracing my voice, I could evoke resonance and authenticity for others on their journeys. As I turned once more toward the heart of the forest, a sense of purpose ignited within me. I understood the true power of words now. They held the potential to breathe life into shadows, to illuminate what lay hidden beneath the surface. They were not simply tools to communicate, but keys that could unlock the doors to unseen realms and touch the depths of humanity, bridging us through our collective experiences. With every step I took under that vast tapestry of starlit wonder, I embraced the profound wisdom I had gained through the whispers of the forest. Every story mattered, every voice carried weight, and the gentle acknowledgement of our fears only deepened the beauty of our connections. As I walked deeper into the night, I felt the intricate threads of the universe weaving together a living web of sound and silence, illuminating lives in harmony. And so, I ventured forth, ready to share my truths, ready to craft the stories that would echo through the mountains and rivers, sprinkling seeds of understanding along the paths of those who would walk alongside me. For in the dance between shadow and light, I discovered that every unexpressed word could transform, and with courage, I could finally unlock the unseen power of my voice, one that resonated not only for me, but for a world woven together by its very essence, waiting to be touched by the beauty of our shared humanity.